Hi, everybody. It's Harvard lawyer Lee. Tonight, I wanted to do an update on the Idaho murders case. I am sure you've been following it. It's almost inescapable because it's so dramatic. There were four college students who were killed, four college students from the University of Idaho. Let me start by showing you a picture of the four of them. This is Kaylee Goncalves to the right and her best friend, Madison Mogan. Best friends from childhood, and they died together that night. They were stabbed. The police are still looking for a suspect. And then let me show you the other two people who died that night. This is Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle. Xana lived in a house with Maddie and also with Kaylee and with two other girls. There were five people total in the house. And her boyfriend was Ethan, and he was over for the night, but did not actually live at the house. Both of them were killed too, the same way, stabbing wounds. The police are absolutely stymied. They do not yet have, the police do not yet have anybody who's a suspect. They have not arrested anybody. They haven't named anybody as either a person of interest or a suspect. We are still waiting for that. And I want to talk about what they released just yesterday and what we know about that. The first thing I want to show you is the card they're looking for. This was brand new information. It's been maybe 36 hours now, and we still don't know how they got this information. We don't know what made this something so important that they're going after it. But let me show you, let me add to the stream here. This is a white Hyundai Elantra. It's not the actual vehicle, but this is just an example of what a make and model, that year make and model, would look like. The white Hyundai Elantra is a vehicle that they're looking for. The police have told us they're trying to find it. There was even word today that they put out word at the border with Canada, which is not that far from where the university is. And they're even looking to see if the white vehicle tries to cross into Canada, and they want to stop it there as well. Where did they get that? We don't really know, but they did release another critical piece of information at about the same time. I want to go through that. I'm going to honestly speculate and get you to help me figure out whether or not this body cam footage that they released from the night of the murders, it's about 3 a.m., right at the right time. It shows two vehicles. I don't think that they are the white Hyundai Elantra that they're looking for, but I am very interested to get your opinion, and I want to show you the body cam footage. The reason the police have released this body cam footage is that they're trying to jog people's memories. Is there something you saw? Is there something you heard that you don't remember, have not remembered up until now, but maybe it was a little out of place? Maybe it would help us because they obviously desperately want to find the person or persons who did this, whoever did this incredible crime, killing four students in cold blood as they lay in their beds asleep. So let's take a look at the video, and I want to, I'll probably stop at a couple of places and show you some of the critical points. So this is from and let me even give you a little more background on this. This is the Moscow, Idaho Police Department. And what had happened was that night was a party night, and there were kids who were out, college students who were out doing things. And at one point in time, it is after they've established that all of the residents of the house were already home. They were already in bed or at least at home, and they were not out anymore. But it's about 3 in the morning. You'll see some timestamps on the video. And at that time, the video starts at 2:55, and then there are more going until after 3 o'clock. That is right about the time that the police believed the murders were committed, sometime after that, because Maddie and Kaylee were making phone calls that weren't answered, but making phone calls to Kaylee's ex-boyfriend right about 2:45 range. And so the police are thinking this time frame is very important because sometime after that is when the person arrived at the house who committed the murders. And so what they've done is say, even though this body cam footage that they're showing has nothing to do with the murders, it's not like they're going to show the murderer on the video. These are just kids who are out and about, and the police stopped them and gave them citations for underage drinking. So it's not as if, they were cited or are believed. And in fact, the police have said, we do not believe that these people are in any way involved in what happened as far as a murder. All that was happening was these people were getting a citation because they've been drinking and were still out. So what we're going to see is everything around them. In fact, the police have blocked out their faces. So what you're going to see is what is all around them. And so you should be looking at what are the vehicles around them? What are you seeing? Everything around them. So let's go ahead and start looking at that. And I'll stop at a couple of places. I've also got some photographs I pulled out to show you some of the things that show up during the video. So let's get started. So you can see 3 young men, and I think later it said they were teenagers. It was teenage drinking. So these young men have been stopped by the police officer. They blocked out their faces, as you can see. And they're in a large field. I'm going to show you an aerial shot so you can get an idea of where they are. Now, notice the police I'm going to stop it there. The police are going to go after 3 more young men who are across the field a ways. And so you're going to see those boys get stopped as well, those young men. So here they are, probably texting everybody saying I've been stopped. Okay, now this is important because the police have apparently finished the stop and they're now walking back out over toward the road. I want you to notice a couple of things. When I show you the aerial footage, I'm going to be showing you where I think they are, and I'm going to tell you kind of how I think that. First of all, notice that in this photograph, you can see a sidewalk. It's about midway along the picture. You see a sidewalk, a little strip of grass, and then the road. And you see 2 vehicles. You see a silver, or it could be white car right in front there. And then you see to the right, a white car parked, and you can kind of see the rear of that. There are several other cars parked there too, but take a look at those in particular because of their color matching what the police are looking for, are pretty close. But the reason I'm going to show you the aerial footage. The reason I picked that is you can see the sidewalk here, and there aren't a lot of roads with sidewalks right around here. So that seemed to kind of pin down where this was. You saw the field, and then you can also see the telephone pole there, right to the left of where the silver or white car is. So the police officer walks over a little further. You can see more footage of where the young men were stopped. It seems somewhat out of order the way I received it, but okay. And I'm going to stop it right there. Take a look at what you're seeing there. You're seeing the rear of that white vehicle. I think that's the rear of the white vehicle that we saw that was on the right ahead as the police officer was walking out. So you can see that car. Is that a white Hyundai Elantra? I think not, based on the picture that I saw. I tried to find a really good picture to show you of the rear of one of these vehicles. I didn't find one that was just right. But if you go back and look at, I'll pull this out. Well, we'll go ahead and finish it, and then I'll pull it out and show you the vehicle. All right, so I'm going to pull that out and go ahead and put back in the white Hyundai Elantra. Notice that it has very dramatic lights, both on the back and on the front. They wrap around the side. They're not small, they're not little. And so let me take you back into the photographs from that particular, I'm going to show you first. This is the first photograph, a photograph, a still shot that I pulled from the video. You can see the 2 vehicles. You can see the one directly in front. Does that look like a Hyundai Elantra? I think not, because of the way the window is shaped, but I'm not that great with cars. I'd be very, very interested in what your opinion is. So if you have an idea or you think it is, I would like to know what you think. And then I'm going to also show you this other vehicle you can see from the rear. And notice, I don't think that those rear lights are dramatic, wrapped. I don't think they look like exactly what the Hyundai Elantra looks like. But as I say, I would be very interested in getting your opinion about that. I also want to take you and show you where I think the police were when they took this. I'm going to start with an overview, sort of pulled back. You'll see on there that there's a red kind of arrow looking thing pointing downward. That's the house. That's the house where the 4 young college students were all killed. So you can see that it's kind of toward the bottom of that. Notice the large green field. That is where I believe the police officer was when he stopped the young men for the underage drinking. Notice that along that strip is a sidewalk that runs around. Notice along Taylor Avenue, you can see there, Taylor Avenue is the big, there are 2 roads, of course, that run by the green space. The one that runs horizontally, Taylor Avenue, has a sidewalk alongside it. Actually, both do, but you can clearly see the sidewalk. That's where I think the police officer was when he took the body cam footage. So I believe he was looking, when he was facing the sidewalk, he was looking up in the direction of the house where the murders happened. There are obviously several houses in between, or several apartments, I should say, several buildings in between. But I think that's the direction he was looking. You can also see some telephone poles along the route there, along Taylor Avenue. And I'm going to pull this in then and show you. And one other thing to note here. Do you see the house it's not even really a house. It's more than a house. It's a fraternity house, so it's much larger than a regular house. But you'll see that next to the green space is a 4-sided structure with a courtyard, and that's the Sigma Chi building. The reason that's important is that's where Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin had spent the evening. They had been, or at least part of the evening, they had been at the Sigma Chi fraternity at a party. And that's sort of the area where all of this occurred. So let's go ahead and pull back, or sorry, pull in. Let's pull in. Here's a closer shot. You can still see the Sigma Chi fraternity. It's on the upper left now. You can see the field. You can see more closely the sidewalk along Taylor Avenue and the telephone poles, or they could be utility poles, whatever they are. And then you see in the bottom still 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, which is where the murders took place. So I've sort of done a little sketch for you of what I think we're seeing. You will see the yellow circle that I did. The yellow circle is to show you where the house is, where the murders actually occurred. That will pinpoint it for you. Then you see the number 1. It's in the upper left-hand corner. That's the Sigma Chi building that I told you about. The number 2 is the field where I think the police officers were crossing to try to reach the young men that they were going to cite for underage drinking. Number 3 is about where the police officer would have been standing in the body cam footage when he was looking back across the sidewalk toward the buildings, where you saw the 2 vehicles, one of which is either silver or white, the other of which is white, that I showed you the close-ups of. That's about where he would have been standing, facing that way. And by the time he showed on his body cam the direct rear view of the white camera, he had crossed the street and was on the other side, I believe. You'll notice some things like there's a gap between the bushes, or the bushes in the building. So I think that is about where he stood. So let's take a look and again at the video, and you'll see why I think that's about where he was standing. So this is the video, again, that the police have released. None of these people have anything to do with the murder. These are just people being stopped for the night. The police are saying that this video is important because it may show things that people remember from the night, that people notice. Here's the image that shows the sidewalk, the telephone pole. You'll see it's looking across the street, and you'll see the two vehicles. The police are asking people to look at these videos and see whether there's anything in them that jogs their memory, or that could be related, or that could have something to do with cracking the case, with giving them a way to solve the case and find the person who did this. So we'll keep watching. There's not much but a few seconds more. And you'll see that we'll skip this part because he just goes, well, it's only a few seconds. We'll stick to it. And then he crosses the street in the next segment, and you'll see that white vehicle. And again, as I said earlier, I don't think that white vehicle is the white Hyundai Elantra they're looking for. You may know more about cars, and you may be able to tell everybody that. From what I can see, I don't think that that's the same vehicle, because I think that the taillights look different. But I think it's important that people know what it is the police are releasing and how much they have or don't have, because of the fact that right now they haven't solved the murders and they have no suspects, none at all. So they are desperately on the hunt for a suspect and for anyone who could give them some ideas about where the person is, who did it. Was it one person? Was it more than one person? They're still waiting. So I'm going to take a quick look through the comments to see if there's anything that you had a question about or wanted to know. And looking for the car. Who knows why they're looking for the car? We don't really know why they were looking for the car. They didn't release any reason for that. Was it related to the body cam footage? They didn't say so. We just know that they announced they were very much on the hunt for this car, and they've even gone to the Canadian border and told the people at the border that they want to do that, that they want to find that. So the people doing the border patrol are also involved in the hunt for this white Hyundai Elantra, because it's really not that far from Canada. It's really not that far for whoever lived in that area or was driving that vehicle to get to Canada. And of course, it's been quite some time since the murders. It's been 3 coming on 4 weeks. So it's been quite some time. So thank you all for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.